أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Once there lived a carpenter who makes houses and chairs and tables and so on and so forth. He was very skilled, skilled carpenter. Now he became very old and it was time for him to retire. It was time for him to give up his daily job and spend his perhaps last days with his family, with his children, grandchildren and so on and so forth. And his employer in a company, he loved this carpenter because he was very skilled, he was a hard worker, he brought in a lot of business and so on and so forth. And the carpenter said, I can't do anymore. I've gone a week. I need to spend my time with my grandchildren, my children and so on and so forth, and my family. So his employer said, okay, I'll let you go, but do one last thing for me as a favor. Build me another house. As a favor, build me another house. So the carpenter, reluctantly, he agreed. And he started to build a house for his employer. Now, obviously, he was in the mood of retiring. He was in the mood of, spending more time with his family and so on and so forth. He didn't put much attention. He didn't give much importance to making that house properly. So the workmanship was not that great. So he made the house, but it was not that great. The skill that he has, he didn't utilize in the right place and in the right area in the house. So after he built the house, he called his employer. He said, here you go, I finished. And the employer said, thank you for building this house. This is a present from me to you. This is a present from me to you. Now the carpenter, he became very shocked. If I had only built a better house, if I'd only spent more time, give more focus, then I could have built a mansion for myself and the employer would have given it to me. The lesson that we can take from this story is, we are placed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this dunya. We have to build our houses and mansions and palaces in paradise in this dunya. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala many times, they encourage us, they command us to work righteous deeds in this dunya so we can build ourselves a great abode, a good paradise and palaces and mansions in paradise. That's why Imam Ali radiallahu anhu, he used to say in the lines of poetry, لا دار للمرء بعد الموت يسكنها إلا التي قبل الموت بانيها, that a person, a believer will not have a house to live, will not have a mansion to live in the hereafter except that which he builds in this dunya. Except that which he builds for himself in this dunya, so he can attain that in paradise. لا دار للمرء بعد الموت يسكنها إلا التي قبل الموت بانيها فإن بناها بخير طاب مسكنه. And if he builds his house in paradise in this world with good righteous deeds, طاب مسكنه, his paradise, his mansion in paradise will be good. But if he builds فإن بناها بشر خاب بانيها, but if he builds his house in this dunya for paradise with bad deeds and disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khaba baniha, he will be perished, he will be destroyed in the hereafter. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he encouraged the companions, encouraged the Muslims to work righteous deeds for us to be treated like kings and queens in paradise. And one other thing that we could do, a very simple thing that we could do every day, every time we finish salah, every morning, evening, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, say Subhanallah bihamdi Subhanal Azim, or La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa kulli shay'in qadir, 100 times. Say it as many times as you can. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever says that, he will build for himself, every time he says it, a tree in paradise. A tree in paradise. The more you say it, you will have a big garden. Not just a garden, you will have a country. You will have the whole state and country for yourself and more. It's a very simple deed. So if we really want to attain the Jannah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not live in a second class home perhaps in Jannah, but live in a first class, we love to go and live in 5-star Hilton hotels in this dunya. In the hereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has far greater, not hotels but mansions for us made of gold and silver and jewelry. But if we have to work in this dunya, we have to do the righteous deeds in this dunya and avoid backbiting, ghibat, avoid cheating, avoid lying, pray 5 times a day in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in masajid, subhanallah, praying, in jama'ah, in congregation, you will receive 25 to 27 times more reward than praying on your own. And if you live in the locality of Neeli Masjid, it is advised, encouraged that you come and pray. At least if you're not working, come and pray 5 times a day in Jama'ah. You will get the reward of 25 to 27 times more than praying on your own. May Allah subhanahu give us the ability to practice or preach. May Allah subhanahu give us the ability to follow the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.